Hey everybody, this is Curtis from PSN Stores. Today we are looking at the final version of Axiom Verge. This video is actually starting where we left off. If you remember back in November, around that time, we got a chance to look at a preview build of the game. And we did a video of that, and that kind of took you through the opening of the game, the first boss, and then right here. So we're, your first playthrough, this is probably going to be about 20 to 30 minutes into the game. So it's still very early, but I wanted to actually show maybe some new gameplay since we already did the video of the preview build. Also, there's a lot of things that you're probably not going to see in this video that I do want to talk about. So I'm probably just going to kind of ramble on a little bit about a lot of the different things that are in this game, and then you get to see some new footage here too. So right off the bat, I feel like it's kind of hard to ignore. But it's pretty clear what this game is inspired by, at least, or what it's doing. And obviously, in the past few years we've had the kind of explosion of Metroidvania style games. Is kind of what the term has been used and thrown around a lot, and I know some people are kind of tired of seeing that every single time a new Kickstarter comes up. I don't really have too much of an issue with that term itself, but understandably, I know I've seen some people are just, oh, I see that, I see the term Metroidvania all the time, and it's whatever. So I want to get that out front. Obviously, this is that kind of game. If you like Metroid, if you like Super Metroid, you will love this game, flat out. So I think I wanted to say right off the bat, obviously this is the kind of game it is. It's gonna feel very familiar if you've played those games a lot, and there's a lot of things about this game that will feel very, very familiar to that. And honestly, of all the games I've played recently, your Guacameles, games like that emulate that style of game, I feel like this game does the best in kind of recreating this sense of exploration that you are rewarded for exploring every single nook and cranny, and finding these power-ups that are so well hidden that you won't find unless you're literally going everywhere and using your drill on every single part of the wall and all these different rooms, and using every single power-up that you have that you get throughout the game to try to find all these different secrets. And there are a lot of secrets, and I think we're not gonna see it here, but I'll talk about it a little bit more but later on, but one of the key components of this game that it uses to kind of differentiate itself from a lot of other games that are coming out these days that are structured in this way. And that is the way that one of your key things that you get is the glitch gun. And it's the way it uses glitches and the concept of glitches to access hidden areas and things like that. And I'll talk about that a little bit more after this boss battle. So this is the second boss battle of the game. I'm going to skip through a lot of the dialogue here. So there are a number of boss fights in this game. They're all really, for the most part, all of them are really, really good. Just some good, really good designs for the bosses themselves. When I beat it, you'll see probably one of my favorite things about this game, and just the way it looks. It's got some real good explosions going on. This guy's not too difficult, although I'm gonna make sure I get hit as many times as possible, apparently. So, pretty simple boss fight. There's some ones later on in the game, one in particular that you're actually using your glitch gun, which is something we don't have just yet, to to create platforms that you can use to kind of get up closer to the boss and hit certain weak points. There's a couple bosses where it's like you gotta kind of look at your arsenal of weapons to figure out what the best weapon to use is, and in some cases there's a number of different weapons you can use, and it's kind of up to your choice, because there are a lot of weapons in this game. Alright, here it is. Yeah, the explosions are just, they look so cool. Like, just, I mean, this is a game that is very, like, just the art style itself, it's very retro, but it does some really cool things with just the special effects and the explosions and things like that just are really, really cool to look at. Alright, so we are about to get the glitch gun, which plays a very major role in this game. So, when I first heard about Axiom Verge, this is a game that's been in development by by one person. You know, it was a one person deal. It was Thomas Happ, and it's been going on for like 5 years. But when I first heard about it, one of the things about this game was that, you know, he wanted to kind of recreate the feeling in older games where you could glitch out of the world, or you could access areas that you weren't necessarily supposed to get to. And, you know, use that in such a way that it would kind of play into the exploration aspect of this, and discovering secrets and finding things on your own, and things that are, you know, especially like some of this stuff is really difficult to figure out. But when you do figure out, it's just like this most incredible feeling. So the glitch gun, this is kind of the first version of it, and you saw there I was using it to create platforms. Part of the things in this game is that one of the most basic aspect of the glitch gun is that you'll find things in this game that, like, you know, certain sprites or like parts of the wall or parts of the environment that kind of look like they're glitching out in a way, and you can use your glitch gun. In that case, you were I was creating platforms. In other cases, there are barriers that you can use your glitch gun on to get rid of them, so you can pass by them. Then you'll upgrade it as well to kind of have a larger effect on certain things. Now, one of the other cool things you can do with your glitch gun is, so we have these enemies here. This one right here is like an enemy spawner. So I could kill these flying guys, but it'll spawn more enemies. Or I can use my glitch gun and I can glitch this thing out. And now instead of spawning enemies, it will not, like, I can actually walk through it and it won't do any damage to me. And it's also just going to infinitely spawn more health. There are a lot of different types of enemies in this game, and almost every single one reacts a little bit differently. Some are just like this, where it's like, you know, obviously that enemy is glitching out. It's not going to be moving anymore. I can easily kill it. But maybe it doesn't really have like a big effect on it. Like, it's just like, that's what it does. So some enemies are like that. These guys actually, when I glitch them out, they can actually break through walls. So these are walls I could normally drill through. But by glitching those guys out, they will actually go ahead and just break down those barriers for me. And as you see, I can normally just drill through these, but because I haven't, you know, it takes a little while, so I can just, you know, glitch them out, and they can do the job for me. You saw one of the power-ups I just picked up increases the size of my the shots fired through my weapons, different things like that. But yeah, so like glitching enemies is super cool. Because, you know, part of it is, you know, again, it plays into the exploration aspect where you're just, it's figuring out what, you know, what you can do with this thing. Like, this thing gives you the power to alter the way the world is set up and change so many different aspects of it. And it's super cool when you come across a new enemy, or like it's an enemy you've just kind of run past or killed many times before, but then you're like, well, wait, let me see what this glitch gun does, and suddenly it reveals a whole new thing that you did not even know about. That actually happened to me after I finished the game. I'm kind of going through trying to get 100% collectibles. Without spoiling anything, there was an area I was stuck on. I couldn't really figure out how to access a specific item that I wanted to get. And I realized that by glitching out a certain enemy, the way that enemy reacted, which was totally unique and different to every other enemy in this game, actually gave me the answer that I needed. And thus I was able to kind of solve that puzzle. And it was just an incredible moment that is kind of unlike anything else I've experienced. And it's not just the glitch gun either. So again, this is stuff you probably won't see in this video, and I don't want to spoil anything, so I'll be pretty vague, but there's a lot of other things that you can do that are kind of related to the glitches in this game that are just super cool. Also, pro tip here, so these green guys, if you glitch them out, all of them in the current room are also going to go get glitched out instead of just this one I was aiming at. And if I shoot it, they all blow up. It's pretty good. So let's see if this is... Okay, so, another thing. You're going to be collecting a lot of notes throughout this game. They kind of offer a good bit of backstory. So we'll go and look at these. You notice that this is in a different language. One, this is an actual language that, like, you know, the creator has made up. You will find translation keys that you can enter into the password screen that will translate these notes for you, and you can actually like disable that password to go back and forth between each language, which I don't know is maybe a thing you can do later on to, I don't know, translate things on your own. There's a password screen. So throughout the game there are a number of different ways, most of which are all different for the most part, except for like the translation passwords. The passwords you find throughout the game to help you do certain things and find certain secrets, all of them are going to be acquired by completely different methods, which is really cool. Then here's your map. So obviously, you know, should look familiar if you're kind of you know, familiar with this style of game. Anyways, on the topic of secrets, there are secret worlds in this that are kind of located, they're just off the map, and they're kind of positioned as, it almost feels like, you know, and if you think about like cut content, or like here's like this level that it's gonna be in the game but then it's not, and so it's you know, it's kind of like, it feels like that in a way. Like you access this secret world, and the way you access them are, you'll be running through the environment. Every playthrough they are randomly placed in a different location. These levels are pretty linear, but they're randomly generated as well. And so they're reusing kind of the same like handful of rooms specifically to that area, as you see on the map, like to each of these areas. I think there are 9 different main areas in the game. Most of these locations have at least one secret world. But as you're running through, you might see the screen kind of, there's an effect on the screen that kind of is laid over, and so that you can kind of tell. It's very subtle, but by seeing it you can kind of tell that, okay, maybe there's something going on here. And then so when you access the glitch world, like it looks weird, and there's like, the whole thing looks like it's glitching out in a way. It's a really cool look to it. I don't know if we'll see any here. But those are, you know, once again, those are worlds that are mostly linear, and they usually lead to like 2 power-ups. Sometimes they're weapons, sometimes it's just upgrading your health or upgrading your firepower, things like that. Like this item right here will make my weapons a little bit stronger. And so you'll find items like this that just right off the bat will increase your health or increase your firepower, but then there's also like miniature versions of those where you need to collect like 5 or 6 of them to get the power increase or health increase. So yeah, so we've kind of gone over this. So here, you know, here's where your weapons are going to be, here's where your upgrades are, there's your power-ups, notes, passwords, etc. And again, you know, it's, if you're familiar with this style of game, you kind of should know to what expect just from the basics of it. The game controls are really well. You know, the drill mechanic is really cool because, again, it's just your way of kind of, there are walls that you can just drill through. You get a teleport mechanic where you can kind of like, by double tapping any direction, you can kind of teleport a short distance, which is used sometimes to access, maybe get you inside walls that you normally wouldn't be able to drill through. Again, you upgrade your glitch gun, which will let you do some more advanced things. And yeah, you know, there's a lot of backtracking too. Like part of the game, like I'm going forward because there's some specific things I need to be getting up here, and eventually, you know, later on I'll get some. There are some parts of the very opening of the game where there are some things I can't access, and so I'll have to return to those later on to access them. Whether that's just because I got a new power up or there's something new that I can do now, any number of things. So, on that front, you know, again, like, this is a very specific style of game that a lot of people are going to be familiar with. And, you know, again, a lot of it, like, I don't like, you know, going in and having to use one specific game to always compare something to, because Axiom Verge does do a really good job of kind of standing on its own. But yeah, like, look, if you played Metroid, like, you should kind of know what to expect from a lot of things. But I do want to stress, especially with the glitch gun, especially with the way that you use those kind of glitches and passwords and that sort of stuff, to alter the way the world looks and the layout of levels and the way you interact with enemies and the environment. All that goes a really long way. And I, like, honestly, like, you know, by the time I beat it the first time, I was like, this is really cool. I beat it and I had around, like, I think it was like 70-some% item completion. So I was like, well, I'm gonna go back and I want to get everything. And at that point, I hadn't found a lot of passwords, and I think part of the reason why I love this game so much, and the reason why it is, man, like, going back and finding those passwords and figuring that stuff out, and like kind of digging deeper and understanding a lot of like the crazier things in this game has gone a long way in helping me really appreciate a lot of what this game is doing and what makes it different. You know, this is a game that, and just by looking at it, just giving like a glance at it, it's like you feel like you know what it is. In a lot of respects that is true. But at the same time, like, I feel like it does a really good job of bringing some really new and interesting concepts to the table. It's also just really fun. You know, that's another thing. There's a hard mode that it's pretty difficult, but once you've once you've finished normal and played a good bit of the game, like, you're pretty well equipped to take on hard. There is a speedrun mode in the game, which is super cool. Basically, like, if you're familiar with, like, the setup a lot of speedrunners use, where they're, whether they're streaming or just recording video, and they've got, like, the timer set on the top left corner of the screen, and then they have checkpoints that they hit, like, every time they reach a certain point of the game. This game does that, so it's got your, like, overall timer, but every time you beat a boss, it, like, checkpoints your time, just so you can see what time you hit, with each boss fight. It's really cool. Another thing it does in that mode is that if you're doing speedrun, it just takes out all the cutscenes, all the story stuff, anything that would stop you from just playing the game. Like, all that stuff is just taken out. And you're free to just play the game. Which also is super cool. So it's just one of those things that, like, I think will go a long way in helping people just, like, especially the speedrunning community. It's like a nice little addition to have. Not something they necessarily needed to do, but it's going to make things probably a lot more convenient for them. So this enemy right here, I actually can't use my glitch gun on yet. There's a couple enemies in the game that you have to get the upgraded gun before you can start doing anything with them. We'll play a little bit longer. Also, if you are curious, so my first playthrough on normal, playing through, trying to kind of explore as much as I can, different things like that, that ended up being around, I think it was like 11 hours, 59 minutes, or something like that. And then I think my percentages were, I think my map was like 92%, items were like somewhere in the mid-70s. My hard playthrough, again, trying to be pretty thorough, although this time, you know, kind of knowing what I need to do and where to go. That ended up being, I think it was around a little under 9 hours, maybe a little above. Percentage completions were around the same. And then last night I did my first speed run. I should say by the time this video goes up, on the 30th, which is today if you're watching this now, I have recorded this video a few weeks ago at this point. But last night I did my first speedrun attempt, and that was around 2.5 hours. So kind of to give you an idea of what you're looking at as far as time is concerned. Here's another one. So I glitch these guys out, and now their lasers have turned blue. It will not harm me. I can walk right through the guy. And the lasers will actually harm enemies too. So again, just almost every single enemy in this game, except for bosses, you can't glitch bosses out, obviously. Almost every single one has a different reaction. A lot of them, a good handful of them, like, you actually need to use them in some different ways to like access hidden areas or get like different power-ups that maybe you couldn't reach before. So there's like a couple I can think of specifically that there's like some light puzzle solving going on. And look, so, you know, the review's up, this video's up. I'm not 100% sure right now at the time of this recording, but we're hoping to maybe have an interview with the developers up as well, maybe some other things. I could go on and on. I could go on and on about how the music in this game is really good. I think it looks great. I think that like the visual effects, like the explosions and just the glitch effects that are used are also just really, really cool. I could keep going. I could go for a long time. This is easily one of my favorite games I've played this year by far. Like, no question. This is something, you know, I finished it 3 times already on normal, hard, and the speedrun mode. And it's one of those games that I don't want to stop playing. I just want to keep playing it. There are plenty of other games I need to be playing right now, but I find myself way too often starting up the PS4 and just booting up Axiom Verge immediately. Even today, after I have like got 100% completion for item and map on my first playthrough, I've done speedrun, I've done like everything I can do at the moment, really, and I'm still running to continue playing this. It is so much fun, and you know, it's something that like I feel like people should play this game, like no questions asked. it is so incredibly easy to just recommend this game because it's so good. It is incredible in every way. And man, like I said before, you know, there's been a lot of Metroidvania style games. There's been a lot of games, especially independent games, that have come out over the past few years that have done this style of game. The way that the world is structured, the way that you see a door in the beginning of the game that you can't open that door because you need an item, and then you go a little further and you get that item, so then you go back and you can open that door. There's a lot of games that have done that. Guacamelee, Shadow Complex. You know, there's a huge list of games that have done that. Some of those games are really good. Some of those games, not as much. Obviously, you know, like, a lot of this stuff is very much rooted in Metroid. This game especially, there are a lot of elements of this game that is very clear, like, look, this guy loves Metroid. He has to have, because there are so many elements of this game that are so deeply rooted in what you expect from that. And as someone who, like, it kind of chased me around for a long time that I never finished Super Metroid until like a month and a half ago. And having played that game so recently and then playing this game, it's really weird. But in a good way. Like, I feel like this game, again, I said it at the beginning of this video, this game by far has done the best at capturing just this overwhelmingly awesome sense of that you get from exploring a game and finding its secrets. And like, I feel like I've conquered this game. You know, there have been a lot of times over the past few days trying to get 100% completion, just trying to figure out what I need to do, and being stuck for a long time and not really sure, you know, where I need to be headed, or, you know, what it is that I was missing, and you know, banging my head against the wall, not just being clueless in a lot of ways. And it was just a moment of, a lot of times, just moments of like finally understanding or finally getting it, and or finally solving this puzzle that I've been stuck on, or finding the solution that I've needed for, you know, maybe a couple hours or something, and I'm just like, I don't know what to do. And solving it myself is just the most gratifying experience, and I feel like this game has done an exceptional job at capturing that feeling, and just capturing this really incredible feeling of just discovery. And I swear, like, especially with the last few things that I needed to get that 100% completion, the last like handful of items that I needed to find, every time I figured it out, I would yell in excitement and just be like, yes, I finally did it. Like, I finally got it. Like, I figured out the password, or I found the thing that I needed to do. And it feels good. Like, it feels so good to do that. Which is like, you know, like, look, don't play this game with a walkthrough. You know, figure it out yourself. You know, just go in blind if you can. Play this game. Buy this game. It's discounted right now on the store, and it's I know the Vita version isn't out yet, but it's gonna be cross-buy. This game is great. This game is incredible, and like, I'm just gonna end the video here. You should play it. You should absolutely play it. I'm probably gonna keep playing this game. But thank you for watching. I know this is kind of long, but thanks for watching. The review is up right now if you want to go read that if you haven't yet. And because this stuff is going up early in the morning, it means the game probably won't be out until later this afternoon. But when it is out, I wholeheartedly recommend checking it out. Especially if you like Metroid, if you like that style of game, you will love this game. You will eat it up. This is a game for you. And that's all I got. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.